Good afternoon, everybody. Let us know if you can see and hear us okay. Just drop a like and a comment if you can see us live. I don't know if we've gone live yet, Natalie. Can you see if we've gone live?
Yeah, we've gone live. There's no eyeballs on us. Yeah. Oh, here they come. Here come the eyeballs.
All right, here they come. Here they come.
Yeah, here they come.
He's going to be first comment.
Oh, come on, Jamie. Come on. Can you get it on YouTube before anyone else?
It's always stream to YouTube quicker, do you think?
I think it must do. I think StreamYard definitely streams quicker to. Oh, here we go. Phil's done it today.
Phil got first comment.
Yeah, Phil first comment.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Flying in.
Yeah. No, sorry, not you, Matt Cromie. You're done. Rona's here. Hi, Rona. Hope you're well. Simon, yeah, all good on Facebook. That's good. Jamie, there he is. Afternoon. Right, we've got a few more coming in to say hi. Yeah, some I can tell you names, some I can't. Yeah. Hi, Stuart. Hi. Yeah, no, sorry, you weren't the first. I don't know, like we've made that to be a thing, like you weren't the first. What is there? I think, not sure how that's you pronounce it. Apologies if not. Afternoon, everyone. Ooh. Is that the dog?
Yeah, my dog barks.
It's not my dog. Yeah.
What a fantastic time to start barking just in the middle.
I know. Do you know? I don't think I've ever heard all the calls and lives and everything. I don't think I've ever heard.
It's a fantastic time to start barking. Give me 1 second. I'll go in.
Okay, that's fine. Right, off you go. And it's just me. Let's see who else has joined us. So Lindsay, Dave, Luke, back in the seat again for second week in a row now that you are full-time entrepreneur. Sean says can see and hear. Quick one. Where's Manuel? Does anyone know? Haven't heard from him. Yeah, no. Drop him a message. Yeah. Good point. I do think he comes and goes a little bit, but yeah, that's very caring of you, Sean. So yeah, drop him a message. I think I'll do the same, actually. Write that down. You're right. Haven't heard from. When you don't hear from someone for a while, you think, oh, okay, I hope they're okay. I'm sure he is. Probably just out, out of the ECOM world for a little while. Jody, hi Jody, hi Ash. A few more joined us on. Paul's joined us on YouTube. I have to keep an eye on both of the comments. So yeah. Today, we're just going to talk about some of the things that you can do to help kind of recession-proof your business. I don't think anyone's under any type of illusion that at some point, probably this year, the UK, the US will end up in recession. I don't know. Who knows? I mean,
I don't know. I'm not so sure. I don't know.
Really?
I'm forever an optimist, though.
Yeah, I'm an optimist as well. I'm definitely an optimist as well. But, let us know in the comments. Oh, okay. Sean says he's messaged him twice. Do you know what? Sometimes when people leave the space, sometimes they may not keep in contact. But, okay, I'll drop him a message as well. But, yeah, I haven't heard from him. So, yeah, I'll let you know. If I hear from him, I'll let you know. And if you hear from him, let me know. But, yeah, so... back to recessions, yes. So, yes, whether you think it or not, it's going to be a bumpy road over the next, sort of like 12 months. It's got to be short. I know what's coming. Yeah, I know some people, yes, some people no. I mean, yeah, but whatever you think, regardless of, the extreme of what you think, we've talked about it previously, going back to 2008. All of us are young enough to remember the 80s one. I remember it as a child. I remember my parents talking about it, but obviously something that I didn't feel the impacts of, being a child at the end of the day.
I definitely didn't feel the impact of the 80s one.
Yeah, I think you literally weren't even born then.
Wasn't even born. I'm a 90s kid. Yeah, I missed the 80s.
Oh my god. Told me I can't help you. I'm sure he is, Sean. I'm sure he is. I think sometimes people just take a break from social media or whatever. But yeah, I'll definitely send him a message and keep you updated as well. Raheem's joined us as well. Welcome, Raheem. Yeah, just drop us some comments. Let us know what you think, potentially, is coming from a recession point of view. Like I said, I never want to get caught too much on the actual, is it coming, isn't it coming, what do we do? I'd rather focus my time and energy on things that we can do to ensure that if it is coming, we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can. But before we jump into that, let's have a chat, because you know, everything that's on, you know, the thing that's on everyone's lips at the moment is meltables.
Yeah.
And right, who's
It
got
is
meltables
toasty.
in their stock? And I know that it's always hotly contested every single year. Should I sell meltables? Shouldn't I sell meltables? We've
That was
already
a great
done the video.
unintended pun, that was. It was hotly
It was.
contested.
Yeah, hotly contested. Yeah, I'm just full of puns, you know. But it's meltables. I'm not going to go into should you be selling them, shouldn't you be selling them. After a certain point, I think it's 15th of May, you know, and up till the end of September, you take your chance. We call it meltables roulette as to whether or not you know, you can continue selling these type of products. It's not against Amazon terms of service, it's more of a guideline essentially. But I've never heard of anyone's products being destroyed because they're meltables, but it could happen. So we always say people take the chance. And some people will always take the chance because, you know, at the end of the day, there's never really been any big hoo-ha about whether, you know, products get destroyed and things like that. But where the issue comes, which is what is happening right now for a lot of people, and like I said, I'm not going to get drawn into debate about whether you should or whether you shouldn't. It's actually up to individual sellers whether they want to take the chance. But the issue, there's always a point in the summer where it peaks at its hottest point, and that's when people tend to panic and be like, right, I've got 50,000 Thornton's chocolates or whatever. And we always say the guideline for me is as soon as it gets above 23 degrees, that's when you really want to stop sending in meltables during that period of time. Not because Amazon's going to destroy them, but you're probably going to get a lot of refunds, to be perfectly honest, because they're just not going to arrive in a fit state with the Amazon customer. So, you know, that's what the advice is. I don't necessarily follow the dates, you know, oh, stop the 15th of May and start again the 1st of October. It really is about monitoring the temperature. Now, anybody that is sending in any type of meltable shipments between now and the next 2 weeks, you're mad. You know, that's what I'm going to say. We are, you know, we're entering into a period of unprecedented heat. Your products will not survive. And you might as well just pay for them and then never receive the products, because there's likelihood you're going to receive quite a high level of refunds for them. So what I will say is, you know, you know, I don't want anyone thinking that I'm saying, oh, don't send them in because it's against Amazon terms of service. It's actually not. It's guideline. They may necessarily destroy your products. But as it stands at the moment, I think you would be mad to send them in. I don't know if you agree, because they're just not going to survive.
I mean, I don't do meltables particularly, but yeah, you'd be mad. It's just like you're just chucking money down the drain, literally.
Yeah,
it's just going to get written off and disposed of, so it's pointless.
Yeah, so you're going to get refunds, even though technically grocery in particular, I mean, but meltables do extend to other categories, candles. And this is the thing as well, because I saw this in another group and someone said, oh, but it doesn't say candles on the list. Well, I'm sorry, but if it's 40 degrees outside of a warehouse, it's probably going to be closer to 42, 43. It's going to be a higher temperature probably within a warehouse, and it's sat there and it's not doing anything, or maybe it's sat outside in a UPS van and it's sweltering. It hasn't got any type of access to any type of
the more likely it's going to be in the transit period. I think the warehouse will probably be okay, because our warehouse is pretty cool. But in transit, if you think in a vehicle, think how hot a vehicle will get. You know, what the UPS aren't going to refrigerate their wagons. It's going to be 40, 50 degrees in there.
Yeah. So anything that it could be, what I consider a meltable to be, is not necessarily chocolate, but it's sweets as well and things like that. It's anything that's consistency could be, you know, damaged, or the integrity of the consistency of that product could be damaged by heat. That's what you have to think about. Now, obviously in the UK, we don't always have to think about this level of heat. But what I'm saying is, if you have you know, shipments to go in, or you're looking at your replens list and thinking, oh, those toffee chocks look good to send them in, I would give it a hard pass for the next few weeks, because it's going to be very, very hot. It could potentially end up in a bunch of refunds. I mean, there's certain types of sweeties that if I got them through the post and they were a bit melty, I'd just stick them in the fridge, you know. But most people aren't like that. You know, they use any excuse to get a refund off of Amazon. So yeah. Paul says I had a lipstick flag. Yeah, exactly. That's what you don't think about. Before the days of being able to afford aircon with going on holiday, when I was a teenager and in my early 20s, going away with Matt, going away with the girls, I used to have to stick all my makeup in the mini fridge because it all melts. People don't realize that it melts. Lipsticks melt, lip liners, eyeliners, they all melt in extreme heat. So yeah, to stick the makeup bag in the mini fridge. So makeup, that's a big one. Definitely lip balms. Chris says bath melts. Anything,
face creams as well.
Anything waxy, anything that it's balmy, anything like that. It's definitely going to have some sort of impact, and it can change the consistency. Face creams as well. That's another thing that actually, if they get too hot, it might change the consistency of the cream and it might send it off. I mean, guys, I'm not trying to scare anyone here, but I'm just think about in particular the next couple of weeks, because we're going into a period of extreme heat, and it could have an impact on some of your products, and you just want to try and do what you can, especially in the summer slowdown, to kind of prevent that. It's preventable, right? You know, doing things to prevent things from getting refunds.
Yeah, totally. It's just you say you're just wasting money, especially if you're stocking stuff now for Q4. Then there's no point sending it until sort of September time, or at least late August when it's cooled down a bit. You're just throwing good money after bad, aren't you?
Exactly. Stuart said for afternoon from a sweltering South Sea. Well, nice. Do you know what? How hot is it where you are? Because it's really muggy here.
It's cold. We're in the north. It's cold.
Oh, it can't be cold.
It literally is 20 degrees. It's cold.
Why is that? So it's like 26 here.
Yeah, we're in the north.
It's muggy.
It's what happens in the north.
That's why it's always. I need to move to the north.
30 yesterday. Yeah, it's 20 degrees right now.
Oh my god, that's crazy! Yeah, it's really hot down here, but it's really.
It's actually going to rain any minute. Apparently.
Oh, Chris says it's just started raining. Oh my god, what is going on? All right, just discard what I've said about meltables.
If you're in the north, but that's a really
if you're in the north, it's fine.
No, but that's a really good point you've just raised, because I might consider on your, think actually I will send meltables, because for me right now it's not that hot, but for you and where their destination is, it could be really, really hot. If they're going to a warehouse, say southeast or in South Sea, for example, it could be 26, 27 degrees. So it's not just about where you are as well. It's about considering the wider temperature of the destination.
There we go. Well, don't do it in the next couple of weeks, because everywhere's going to be hot. That's what I'm going to say. Hi, Chev. Chev joined us. Welcome. Chris says it's just started raining in the Cambridge area. It's 25 in sunny Hull. Who says that? Not sure who that was. Sorry. Oh, it's Jamie. Rosie says 20 degree in Ireland. It's our summer. Rain here. Just putting out the washing, so it's all my fault. Well done, Lindsay. You've put the mockers on it. I'll be meltable after the rain stops. The humidity would be great. Yeah, I know. It's just really muggy at the moment. That sort of, mugginess kind of thing. But, we'll get through it. Right.
We'll moan about it, but we'll get through
I know. Exactly. And then we'll moan about when it's cold. It's what we do. It's what the Brits do, definitely. Right. What I want to do is talk about some of the things that you guys can do in order to recession-proof your business. That's what today's session is predominantly about. So what we're going to go through, we're going to talk about some of the things that you can do in order to really kind of not necessarily just survive through Q4, but you can actually do things that can thrive through Q4, because we've said it before. People that are in jobs, people that do not have, or I know some of you guys are still in full-time jobs, and Amazon's very much either a side hustle or a business that you're building maybe in order to move into a full-time job, but ultimately you're here, so you're in the right place to take that blue pill, red pill, whatever. I never remember which one. But we are in such a fortunate position compared to people who are in just a standard job, because their costs, they might get a pay rise. If we go into recession, they might get a pay rise. over the next few months. It depends how far inflation gets away, how high it goes. There might be a decision to raise wages across the board. I think the Bank of England has come out and said that they want to avoid that because that can prolong a recession. By the way, we are not financial experts here. This is just, commentary, our thoughts, essentially. Just want to make that clear. So it may well be that happened, but those guys are kind of stuck, with the greatest possible respect of saying that, whereas we have got the opportunity to be able to grow our businesses during this time. We've got opportunity to add additional income streams, and one of the things I want to talk about is what you can do during this potential recession period to not only potentially grow your business but expand and expand different income streams within the business as well, because I think you'll be amazed at how much you can potentially earn from Amazon, eBay, Spotify, all of these different ECOM by the knowledge that you have in your head as well. So I want to talk about that a little bit today. We won't talk about it fully, but just, have a little bit of a chit chat about that. Saeed's come in just with some questions before we start. So I think this is actually very relevant to where we are.
Yeah.
So he's asked, do we need to prepare for Q4 right now, or do we need to wait? So I'll let you tackle that one first of all, Matt.
Prepare right now. I mean, it's no point saying that obviously if you're not preparing right now, then you've missed Q4. That's not true. But the earlier you prepare, same with anything in life, the more time you've got to react to changes. Particularly from a sourcing perspective, now is an exceptionally good time to buy Christmas stock. If you're particularly interested in toys and you're doing retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, there's some really good deals out there that you can kind of just look at the keeper graphs and go, this is probably going to go up in Q4. I'll buy it now while it's on sale. I'll play the retailers off against each other. I'll get price matches to get more stock. Really good little tip you can do is, if someone's price matching and they've got a sale on, most will do it anyway, but you can play them off against each other. And then you can kind of hold this stuff, send it into Amazon. Sort of July, August is a very busy time for sending in, and then it'd be ready for when the Q4 kind of period starts. I don't know if this year, I have a feeling this year, I think Q4 is not going to be quite as condensed. I think it's going to be a lot longer because people will be spreading their cash out more and they'll be more aware of their finances. A lot more people, because of the cost of living, will be more aware of their finances. So I have a feeling that Q4 will be still very busy in December and November, but there'll be a lot more spending brought forward into October and September. So I think that now is an excellent time to prepare. Don't worry if you think I haven't done any prep, it's not the end of the world, but I would say there's no reason to wait. Get that stuff in now while it's the summer slowdown. Get the deals now while it's nice and quiet. And also with inflation, the way inflation's going up, this product you're buying is, if you're running at 10% inflation, what you're buying this week could potentially be going up in price next week. So it makes sense to buy it now.
Yeah, I tell you what, I've seen since we started up arbitrage again in the US the last couple of weeks, I've really been delving deep into sourcing, and I'm amazed at some of the deals that are out there at the moment, considering, from big retailers, especially on the toy side of things. So, keep an eye out, even if you've got to, hold stock for a little while. Obviously it comes down to cash flow, of course. But I'm one of the saddos. I mean, I have like a Christmas buying spreadsheet, and literally I've bought 5 or 6 Christmas presents already because of the deals at the moment. Toys for my kids, that type of thing. Just some of the deals are absolutely crazy at the moment. Some really big branded stuff that you never see on sale from certain type of retailers that you never see running sales in particular. So keep an eye on everything. Best strategy, if you can, put stuff aside and hold on to it. But saying that, if there's a market and profit to sell it now, you've also got to take into account, is it better to sell it now, compound the money, get it back in, and because buying stuff, I mean, we're in July, and we're not even halfway through July yet. I think how many times you can condense a buy, or how many times you can flip a buy between now and Christmas. So it's not always about holding. You know, you can, as long as the market and the profit's there now. But at the moment, there is a lot of price tanking at the moment. And I think because of a number of things, we're in summer slowdown, and it does feel like summer slowdown at the moment. It really does.
Yeah, definitely. Really this year, big impact this year.
I think this is the first year that we've really truly gone back to a true, you know, selling year on Amazon as possible. And Syed's actually asked another question: how can we predict for Q4 this year? Because obviously, looking at the data for the last few years, it's been very skewed in terms of the pandemic and, you know, and a few other things. Whereas this year, I think we're going to go back to seeing what our first normal Q4 would be like for 3 years, but with potentially a slightly negative connotation because we're going into recession. So even possibly we might not still see a true Q4 because we might see an amount of reduced spending. So that's a really hard question to sort of answer. All you can essentially do is you know, try and make a prediction based on the information that's there. I will say if it's seasonal, it's likely that it's still going to remain relatively seasonal. If it's a product, try and go back over a couple of years and see if you can notice a pattern. Even throughout the pandemic, if you still see you know, a big increase over a certain period of time, then there's a good chance it's going to increase. It just might not be as much. Because obviously this year we're outside of the pandemic and we're also outside of, you know, and we'll potentially be in an actual recession by then as well.
One thing I'd also say is look for products that Amazon is struggling to keep in stock that are popular. So if you're looking at the charts, you know, ones where Amazon's regularly going out of stock, they're potentially ones where there's supply issues. And if you can get the supply, you could clean up at Q4 because Amazon will sell out on Black Friday because they'll do a silly deal and then there'll be no stock available until after Christmas because of the supply issues. So it's a nice little trick there that you could actually maximize this year more than any is getting any kind of gaps in supply that Amazon is unable to fulfill by buying from other retailers now while it's cheap.
I think this year is the first year you'll see the bigger, you know, Amazon on the least amount of listings. We've seen over the last few years, because Amazon's made it pretty clear that they want third-party sellers to fulfill listings, and you know, they are not going to be stocking as much as they have previously stocked. So you know, they've mentioned that quite a few times now. So I think we're going to start to see a reduction in the amount. And when I say a reduction, I mean like we probably won't even notice, but you know, because they sell across, you know, hundreds of thousands of products. But it may well be that they may not stay in stock continuously where they have before. They may sell out quicker over the Q4 period. You know, something like it's a given. You got something like Lego advent calendars, say for instance, you get a good deal on those, you see those. Now Amazon is only going to have a certain amount of stock of those. They can't get any more after you can't get any more. So Amazon doesn't have like a, you know, once all the stock for that goes, it goes. It's as simple as that. There's no more stock. Whereas if it's like a regular Lego set, they can sell out over Christmas and they can get restocked over Christmas. But if it's something that's got a seasonal edge, there's a good chance they're not going to be getting any more stock of it. So make sure you keep on things like that. And it's always good looking back over like the Harry Potter advent calendars, the Star Wars ones, the Lego ones, that type of thing. As soon as you see Amazon go out of stock, I mean, they double in price overnight because the people that are holding the stock, you know, it's supply and demand at the end of the day. Sean says multiple incomes is key. I'm also learned about deal packages and property. Absolutely. Multiple incomes all the way. And we'll be talking about that in a sec. Paul says even the people that buy in September and October, they still can't help it. They buy a bit more in November and December. Oh, absolutely. And that goes for the first week of December. It's like real itchy fingers. You know, you literally buy for as long as you can, you know, just as long as it's not seasonal. That's what we say. There is a cutoff point, because that's always a question that comes up. When do we stop buying? Well, you don't, but you stop buying the seasonal stuff.
Yeah, or you just need to be really careful about the price you're paying for it, because we all get into this Q4 bubble and everybody's making money. It's dead easy. You can go to Smith's, you can buy this toy, you can pay more than retail, you can flip it. What happens in January, February, the prices will fall off a cliff and you'll get stuck with stock. So you just got to be a bit aware and not get carried away, and just be aware of what you're buying, you're able to clear through in a week or two, not have to sit on for a few months because you're essentially overpaid on that product.
Going back to Saeed's question, actually, about Q4 strategies and things like that, one bit of advice I'll always give to everyone is don't feel pressured to sell in Q4. It's so it's a fact that actually prices go up the most in January, and yes, demand does reduce significantly, but there's less competition about, and the prices have gone up, there's a good chance you might get more bang for your buck you might get more bang for your buck in, I suppose, January or February than you will in the crazy time in December. So don't worry about getting stuck with stock, if it providing, like I said, it's not on the seasonal side of things, for sure. So what were we talking about? So yes, multiple not multiple income streams, because I'm going to that's the kind of buzzword, multiple income streams. Going back to talking about kind of recession proofing yourself, and I actually owe this part of the conversation to Thomas Parkinson, who came and visited me last week. Can't believe it's a new week since then, actually. And we were talking about diversifying income, and we were talking about things that people can do in order to, maximize what they're doing at the moment. And it kind of got me thinking, because Thomas, actually, it's so true that, when you're in your business, it's so hard to see out of your business, essentially. And sometimes when you have someone come in and you talk to them, you talk about your business and what you're doing and everything like that, they just spot something and you're like, oh my God, that's been in front of me like the whole time. Why didn't? And no amount of experience, can ever, sort of prevent that. I've been self-employed for 15 years. I consider myself to know, a bit about, stuff when it comes to running businesses and things like that. But when somebody comes in from an outside perspective to look at things from a different way, it can make a huge difference. Why I encourage you guys to talk amongst each other as much as possible, because where you might be struggling with something, someone else might spot it. Anyway, Thomas spotted this and I was like, oh my God, yeah, wow, that makes sense. So yeah, I'm going to owe him a commission at some point in the future if we end up exploring what he said, and I genuinely think we will. But it kind of got me thinking about, people, because what we used to say was, when you think about diversifying your income, it was always like you did, Matt. You got suspended on Amazon in Q4. Yeah. Sorry, I know it's tough, it's a point for you. But you got suspended during that period of time, and you diversified to eBay, right? Because that was the option at the time. Whereas now I probably, and even up until probably a year or so ago, it was like, don't put all your eggs in Amazon basket. And that's so true. But now actually the smart way to do it is to potentially diversify into another area on Amazon. So if you're selling arbitrage, well, actually, maybe instead of starting a completely new sales platform with a completely new set of rules, with a completely new set of tools and subs and everything like that, you need to maximize what you've already got and are using within your business. So if you're selling arbitrage at the moment and you're doing quite well, now maybe it's a good time to diversify into wholesale, or maybe it's a good time to dive still within the same market, or maybe you look at it, okay, I'm doing arbitrage in the UK. Maybe I can do arbitrage in Europe. Maybe I can do arbitrage in the US. It's almost, and what I said to Thomas, so it's a bit of a spoiler alert. What I said to Thomas is, you almost want to consider a sidestep before taking a step forward. And that might sound, so it's like a lateral move instead of taking a step forward. Because if you think about it, when you take a step forward, then you literally might be in a position where, yes, you're going to expand, and it probably will be a really good thing for your business, but it's not necessarily the smartest move for your business, because it might take up more time than you can offer, at that point. So that's, I wanted to talk about smart diversification. So it's making that strategic move, looking at your business, where it is now, what's the easiest step that you can make within that business to diversify. What is going to take up the least amount of your time is going to be the easiest transition into that next part of the business. So what are you already doing? And that's what I want you to all think about today, is in your mind, what are you set up best for to make that next step? But don't think too different. Think where you are. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes total sense, because I've done these. I've done the same. And what happens is that it's not so much shiny object syndrome, but you have a pool of resources, and you then move your resources to focus on this new project. Okay, so let's say you're going to start eBay. So you put all your effort into eBay, and eBay performs spectacularly. But what the hard part is you've now got two plates, and you need to keep both plates spinning. Otherwise, the Amazon plate's going to fall off. So it's about diversifying in a way that will enhance all of your business without any of it falling off. That's the real challenge. But if you can get that right, that's where you're onto a real winner, by kind of maintaining multiple kind of, I would agree, sort of side steps of diversification rather than great big massive changes. And go, change. I'm gonna become a property investor, nothing wrong with property, just as an example. That's a huge change. It's a completely different mindset than doing, right, I'm going to start Amazon wholesale and OA. They're kind of like similar skill sets.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it is, skill set as well. Whilst eBay and Amazon are two selling platforms, they require transferable skills. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. But at the end of the day, it's still a new interface. It's still a new platform that you've got to learn. So think closer. That's what I think, it was like literally, and this is why it's so important to stay informed. It's so important to, stay within these communities and within these groups. Just a couple of years ago, we would say, right, diversify onto eBay. But now, where there's so much more opportunity, and I'm not saying just stay within Amazon. I'm not saying that works, to any particular niche or income that you're working on at the moment. If you are in property and you're someone that flips flips properties, okay, maybe do you want to look into the buy-to-let market? Okay, well, that's the next sensible move. Do you want to look into HMOs? Do you want to look into this? I have nothing to do with property whatsoever, guys, but it's just an example kind of thing. Right, you're selling on eBay at the moment, and you currently only sell your old stock. Right, okay. Well, listen to someone like Matthew and stock stuff specifically to sell on eBay from for new stuff from retailers. It's all about making those tiny kind of little changes and smart changes, because I think sometimes we're so desperate to protect ourselves from Amazon that actually we miss a lot of opportunity on Amazon. And it's very rare, and I have to state this. Yes, it was a traumatic event for you, your suspension over that period of time, and it worked out really well for you in terms of your diversification. But in most cases, and I would say in most cases, most people will not receive a permanent. I actually don't believe in permanent suspensions.
No, ours was only 2 weeks, which it felt like 2 years, but it was only 2 weeks. I think it might have been less than that, to be honest. Like it was about 2 weeks.
And that's the thing. I think a lot of fear drives oh my God, what if I receive a permanent suspension? Well, actually, I've seen people get an account back from where you never thought accounts would come back from at the end of the day, as long as people are, kind of never give up on it, essentially. So that's what I would always say. And think about different global marketplaces and things like that. Seth in particular, who sells the books, he got suspended in the UK, selling in the US. So there is always options out there for people. So just think about those kind of smart moves. And I suppose the next question really is, God, my messenger's going mental today. Sorry if you can hear all the beeps. But
popular.
One of the well, but so we're talking about small side steps, but when do you make that decision to do it? And what's really interesting is that I'm going to contradict myself massively here and say I don't think there is a right time. It's whenever it potentially feels right. I don't think there is a right time, but there is also a right time. And I know that sounds like a complete contradiction. I think there's at certain points in your business where it may well be that if you want to expand into a different area but you don't have the time to do it, but that there's an opportunity there, okay, is there an option to outsource those areas? Now with so many services, solutions, service-based solutions around, softwares, things like that, you have the opportunity more than ever to be able to expand your business, particularly in the same niche, even if you don't have the time to do it. So I would say that there's two things that you need to look at. One, do you have the time? Fine. If you don't have the time, could it be outsourced? Perfect. If it can, then yes, it's going to have a certain amount of time, dedicated to it. But knowing that you just have to work your butt off for a 3-month period or something like that, then you can outsource it. Or find your current business is fully outsourced and you're achieving a certain level of net profit that you want to achieve. Now it's time for you to move on, because what you'll find is if you take that side step as opposed to the step forward, if you make that lateral move instead of making that step forward, a lot of your costs are probably going to be it's going to be cheaper, essentially, to expand as well, which a lot of people don't realize. Whereas if you're moving from Amazon to eBay or Amazon to another platform or Shopify, you've got a whole bunch of new costs that you couldn't cover with your existing softwares. Buybot Pro, Profit Protector Pro, all of these softwares, they work in different marketplaces. You can use them if you're going from arbitrage to unique bundles, if you're going from wholesale to arbitrage, if you're going from arbitrage to wholesale, if you're going from arbitrage to private label, you can use a lot of the same software. So that's where the smart transition, I think, should come in for most people. And the more that you can expand and think about it and do it smartly, I think the more chance you'll have for success for developing multiple income streams during a recession, because most people are not going to want to expand during that period of time.
Yeah, I think I completely agree with what you said. I think that's just where most people go wrong with expansion. Is what they don't do is they have a business, an Amazon business running really well, and then they think they have to run this new project. And the answer is why would you do that? For example, my website, I had somebody do it for me, and I employed somebody to do it for me. I don't have them skills, and I have got the time to learn them skills. It doesn't mean I can't diversify into that area, but I recruit people with the expertise to work with me, and then therefore that we can build that business. And then, so let's say I want to do eBay, I get somebody who has knowledge of eBay, and you build out a team of people, of good, knowledgeable people. And then when you've got these kind of like different figureheads of each kind of little bit, then they can have people underneath them, and that's how kind of like the business overall grows. Where most people go wrong is they go, all right, I'm running an Amazon business, so therefore I'm now going to go into eBay, and then they end up working like 700 hours a week, and they just can't do it, and it all falls apart. And then what happens is they take somebody on, but then they don't have the time to train them because they're trying to run 3 businesses themselves, and then they go, well, this person's just in my way, and they're a pain in the ass because they're just asking questions all the time because you haven't put the time in to train them and put the systems in place. So it's really, really important that you get the right people in when you do, if you're going to go for these forward steps. That's how the best way of doing it is to get a dedicated person or people within your organization to manage these parts for you, or you give away some of your role. I'm primarily on Amazon. I'm going to give that to somebody else, so therefore I can spend the time to research this platform properly and invest time into it, rather than just going on and do eBay today and that's it, and then it all falls apart because you just can't. There's only so many hours in a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. It will always come down to time more than anything else, you know, within business. But we live, even with this recession looming, we live in the golden age of e-commerce. There's no doubt about it. Sean says, you know, I want to make as much possibly as I can during e-commerce. And now is the opportunity to be able to do it. If you are set up, ready to go, and you have the ability to be able to do it and persevere during this period of time, you will do well. It's as simple as that, because we're going to see a lot of people drop off over the next, you know, kind of 7 months, you know, 7 to 12 months. Now, I'm not saying that new people won't come in and replace those, you know, because Amazon in particular will always be a very sexy e-com model, because a lot of people sell the dream that it's easy, you know, so you're going to have...
Oh yeah, it's 100% passive.
Yeah, 100% passive. It's this, it's that. Believe me, there's no such thing. No. And it's not easy. It's easy to start. It's easy to get set up, but it's not easy to do. You know, it's that we've always said that and always maintained that from the start. You know, done for you services. I'll run your Amazon account. I'll run your eBay account. I'll do this. I'll do that. No. that's the way I see it. Just do it yourself. You know, do it yourself. If you're going to start a business, do it yourself and learn how to do it, and then outsource it. You know, that's the best possible way, in my opinion. But
another way actually that I've been really exploring recently is acquisitions. So another thing you guys might want to consider is potentially partnerships with each other, or maybe buying businesses. For example, if somebody has a really strong US account and they want to get into the UK, and you have a really strong UK account and you want to get into the US, is there maybe some kind of partnership that could be arranged there, whether it be a skills transfer or whether it's an actual acquisition, and you buy them, they buy you, you partner up, you come on business, whatever that looks like. An amazing way you can double your business overnight by partnering with another business that does the same thing, and potentially halve your competition, especially if you've got, you know, competing people in the same niches. Maybe combine and dominate that niche between you rather than competing against each other.
Absolutely. And Sean says, I think more people will jump onto Amazon when they lose their jobs. So you need an app to teach you with branded listings too. Absolutely. Massive. For those that have been part of ESA or part of trainings and things like that, we're really going to see some huge numbers from people, you know, creating their own opportunities this Q4, because there's just not the level of competition that you get with kind of standard arbitrage. But yeah, absolutely. Any info, let me know. Pardeep says, in a similar situation, doing this, driving lessons, next goal is property. Yeah, multiple streams of income. But like I said, smart first. Do it the smart way. And I don't hear people talking about this. They just like diversify, multiple streams of income. Do it smart. That's what we're going to start talking about and start showing you. Now, it's funny, actually, you know, with what Sean's saying there and what you were just saying, Matt, actually. And that's what I want to come on and talk about next. And again, something I never really hear many people talking about. And this is going to be hugely relevant for a lot of people in a recession situation. Maybe it might appeal more to the guys that are full-time in Amazon. I don't know. It really does depend on your time commitments, restraints. But I just want to kind of play a game. I want to pose a question to people and ask you guys what you think your Amazon knowledge or your eBay knowledge or your Shopify knowledge, whatever you're doing, property, whatever, what do you think? And this is a trick question, but what do you think that knowledge is worth? Do you think it's worth a lot, a little? Do you think it's just rattling around in your head and it hasn't really got any type of purpose? Because the reason I ask is I think that people think that there's two income streams in Amazon. You sell, and then maybe you get to the point where you think, okay, I'm pretty good at this. I could teach other people to do it. So I sell courses and that's it. Or I maybe coach or something like that.
Yeah.
But actually, for the guys out there that develop a good level of knowledge, there are so many potential things that you guys can do that could potentially earn you extra income. And this is what we're talking about, recession proof in your business, that you can monetize from your Amazon knowledge. And it's not just about selling courses, which I know gets a bad rap from people, but I don't get why it gets a bad rap from people, because at the end of the day, if you've got knowledge is worth money. You know,
it's experience is worth an awful lot of money.
Exactly.
Again, there's the whole, but you can get the information on YouTube. Yes, you can get the information on YouTube, but you won't get the real life experience of somebody saying, don't do this because. And it's the what not to do, I think, is more valuable than the what to do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And the funny thing is, people don't realize how much the information, like Luke says, rattling around in your head is worth. And it's not just about, okay, you either be a seller and then you sell courses and that's your only option. In the comments, guys, give me, and what highlighted this and why I wanted to bring it up, it actually came up in an ESA session last week, and something that I was teaching the guys in ESA. And it's something that people don't think about, and it won't appeal to everyone. And that's the thing, because if you're not someone that wants to create a course or to coach people or do this, you think, well, okay, well, I'll just, I'll sell and I have no other options. Actually, you do have quite a lot of other options, because your knowledge and experience is worth something. And I was teaching, so those of you that are members of ESA, I was teaching on, I was doing a live over the shoulder writing a listing. And it got me thinking at the time, and I said it to the guys watching, look, if you get good at this, if you know how to do this, this is an income stream in itself. So if you're someone that can write listings for other people, because people hate writing listings, most people don't particularly enjoy it. And the funny thing is, people don't know how much that knowledge is worth. Yes, you'll have people, VAs and things like that. But if you can create a genuinely, good optimized listing for someone, you could charge anything up to about $500 to do that per listing. And that might be something that you do once a month. You go into Facebook groups and, you see people that are looking for listings. You don't even need to set up, a website. You don't have to set up anything, providing you can do it. I mean, I'm not encouraging people to start stalking Facebook groups and saying, hey, I can write your listing, pay me $500 or whatever. You've got to have that level of experience. But think about all the different niches that you've covered in your, you've covered in your selling career, either be it on Amazon, all these different types of things and ways. Because I tell you what, one thing, when we go into recession, there is always people with money that are looking to diversify. If they can't get returns on stock market or things like that, it may well be that they might start a private label brand, but they want nothing to do with that. They want, there are people out there that do not want to sell on Amazon. That want to sell on Amazon that don't know how to and have no intention of finding out. So the amount of potential niche income streams that you can create without having to sell anything, without having to, pimp yourself out on YouTube or anything like that, just by, dropping someone a private message saying, look, I said that you were looking for this. Actually, I have quite a bit of experience. Would you like to see some examples of my work or something like that? There's so many opportunities. And like I said, I was writing the listing live, so that's the one that came up. But just from listings, you've got listings. Well, actually, a separate service could be keyword research. A separate service could be A+ content, which again, you can charge another $350, $500 for that. A separate service, if you're artsy fartsy, could be creating infographics for people.
Photography as well is a big one. There's a massive lack of photography out there.
And that's just within listings in itself. Then when you move into PPC, if you get good at learning how to do PPC, then you can charge people for running their accounts. You can charge people for launching products. You can charge people for just setting their campaigns up. You can charge probably $500 just to set up someone's campaigns. So think outside the box, guys. There's, you guys are gathering knowledge every single day. And I'm not saying it's going to be for everyone. Some people just want to sell and they don't want any hassle with any clients or anything like that. But don't just think it's selling or courses, selling or coaching. You don't have to do that. There are so many different, sort of opportunities. And I said, just scratch the surface. But not only selling services or selling things like that, have a think about how you can be smart within your business. Do you have a VA? Do you have a team of VAs within your business? Okay, well, do you buy all of your deals? If you don't, okay, maybe reach out to a few people. Do they want to buy some deals off you? If you know that your deals are good and they're consistent and all of this, like I said, there's things that you can do within your business. Are you a good sourcer? Is manual sourcing one of your skills? And you see people asking, well, I don't know how to source. Reach out to them, jump on a Zoom session with them, charge them 30, 50 quid or something like that. Show them how you do it. There's so many things that you can do to monetize your knowledge. And during this time, during a recession, now's the time to start thinking about that kind of thing, because like I said, and these are the extras that most people aren't prepared to do. If you've got a warehouse, do you want to take on 5 prep clients, just to cover the costs?
Even storage. I've paid somebody in our estate for storage today. Just extras. If you've got extra space, people want to store stuff for Q4, I'll chuck £20 a pallet a week, something like that.
Yeah. Daniel says, I'm not selling any courses until I have 2 Lambos. Absolutely. Lambos. Who wants a Lambo? They're horrible. Cindy said, love this idea. I wish I could get my kids interested and hire them out. Definitely. Simona says, courses have a bad rep because people don't do their due diligence on people who are selling them. Many courses are expensive for basic knowledge. Absolutely. I think it comes down to, connection. I've always said this in the past as well. It can sometimes come down to connection with that person more than anything else. I could teach someone something and they might not connect with me and it might not go in. Whereas the next person could come along, teach them either something exactly the same or something similar, but they've made a connection with that person. So therefore it resonates with them more. But, it's one of those things. It doesn't have to be about, there's so many things when you sit down and think about, brand registry at the end of the day. That's a bugger to do. If you're good at, that kind of process, there's people out there that charge 500 quid plus for registering a trademark and setting up brand registry. Just something like that, a service to do that where people don't want to do it themselves. Believe
so for example, me, I wouldn't know how to do that. So I would potentially pay for that service, because for me, £500 is probably cheaper than me spending 2 days working out how to do it and potentially doing it wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the thing is, if you apply for a trademark and you don't put it in correctly, then you lose the cost of the trademark, which is 200 quid.
Yeah.
And then, if you put the wrong thing in brand registry, if you are not diligent and your account is in not good enough health to apply for it, you can get put on the brand registry content abuse list, and you can find yourself very hard to get off of that as well. So like I said, it's knowledge. There are things that if you know within your business, then you can absolutely monetize them. And now's the time to do it during this period of time. If you just, from a different pair of eyes, have a look through some of the Facebook groups and just see what people are asking for at the end of the day. I'm not saying everyone should start an PPC agency overnight, because that's real specialist knowledge. Where we are, we know a lot about PPC, but we don't have a PPC agency because it's very niche and it's very, we offer PPC services to people, but it's one of those things that you kind of have to stop everything else and just do PPC, because you've got to be so on top of everything, in that area. But it's definitely something worth considering if you feel confident enough to be able to do it. But I tell you what, always remember this. Is people will say, oh, I'm not good enough to do it or whatever. Believe me, there are a bunch of people out there that literally have no conscience and no scruples whatsoever, and they are selling services, doing stuff for people. They'll take people's money and they'll deliver a bunch of crap. So what I will say is, don't underestimate yourself. Even if you gain a bit of experience, you can always offer to do your first goes for free. If you want to build up your confidence a little bit, you don't necessarily have to charge. I'm not a fan of doing stuff for free. I don't think you should, because I think where do you suddenly go from free to nothing? I think your time should always be valued, and I think it should always be worth something. But you can definitely offer a decreased. If you're gonna write a listing for someone and you know that you're going to charge £300, well, say, look, I have to charge something, because my time's really valuable. So I will charge £100, because I'm building up my portfolio, something like that. Yeah. Sean's right. Don't do it for the money. Yeah. Do it because you enjoy it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Paul says, got to jump off now. Have a good day, Paul. Enjoy the rest of the day. Yvonne says, I feel like you're speaking directly to me with this topic. Wow. Hope it resonates. Like I said, sometimes with people, you can say things and it's what they're thinking about at that very moment. And, whereas you could listen to something else next week and someone say exactly the same thing, but just in a different way, kind of thing. So, hopefully it has anyway. Hopefully it has.
A funny story. This is exactly how I got into this. Somebody said to me, you have an awful lot of skills and knowledge. And I was like, really? Because the thing is, the problem is you compare yourself to your peers, and I've been working with quite big companies, so people think my company's big, but when the people I deal with, they're big, and to me they're big. When I thought I was just like this small little company, and then when someone said to me, said, you've got all this knowledge and expertise, why don't you do something with it? And I was like, well, okay. I never really thought of myself like that, and I imagine there's loads of people on here who have an awful lot of expertise and knowledge, who can fill gaps, and you have the confidence. You just need the confidence to do it, and that you are very competent. If you're doing it genuinely as well, it's well worth doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with what Sean says. Don't do it for the money. Absolutely.
No.
But don't do it for the money. Don't force yourself into a position. So what I would say is make a list. Make a list of all the things that you do within the business and write it all down and see where you've got a good level of knowledge. And like I said, there are certain things you'll do within your business that actually only by doing them more often, i.e. charging people to do it, that you'll gain more experience in doing it anyway. But that's reflective in what you charge. It's a bit like going to a hairdresser's. When you go to a hairdresser's or certain types of hairdressers, you pay different levels for different hairdressers, because if you're going at the bottom level, that person hasn't got that much experience. They're learning, they're crafting their skill. Well, that's exactly the same. You can do that with monetizing your knowledge in that way. And I just wanted to kind of open people's eyes to a little bit and sort of say that it isn't necessarily if you want to monetize your knowledge, if you want to create multiple income streams, because I guarantee something like Amazon, which has such a broad and massive appeal, and think about the different types of services, software, people selling stuff. Think of the extent and the amount of people that it serves. Then you will be able to find something that you like and can monetize during that. I guarantee you will be able to. There will be one thing that you can do. So write a list down of all the things you can do, charge accordingly, whilst you're building up your experience and your confidence. And before you know, I tell you what, it could turn into something big. It could turn into, bigger than being a seller. And that's okay. Don't let anyone ever put you down for that, because then there's a certain level of snobbery, when it comes to selling and things like that. But you know what? There are people that find different paths. Some of the biggest guys on YouTube and things like that sort of say, open prep centers or do software or things like that. They know that they can serve the community better in a different field, because they've spotted a gap and they've created something to fill it. So, you know, if anyone ever tries to make anyone feel bad about that, you know, just ignore them at the end of the day. That's the way I see it.
They're probably just jealous.
Probably are. Definitely.
Probably just jealous because they think, well, why didn't I think of that? Yeah.
Exactly. Or they don't have the skill set or whatever. But I guarantee, like I said, and that's where most people think, because most people think, oh, okay, we'll have to sell a course, or I have to do this, or I have to do that. Well, actually, no, you don't have to. There's so much more that you can do to monetize. And I tell you what, some of the people that are doing some of the stuff where you know, where you don't really know anything about, they are secret squirrelers and making a hell of a lot of money. I know someone that just writes listings and just does A+ content, and literally they have a team of people doing it for them now. And that's the thing. It's something you could then teach staff and then outsource at a later stage as well. You can create an agency, or you can create whatever. And but yeah, those PPC guys, I tell you what, those guys are the ones that have got the real Lambos.
Yeah.
They're the ones that have got the real money, definitely. So it's never feel bad for it, for sure. Sean said, you need to get on TikTok. It's huge. Sick of seeing these Arabic people selling courses, though. Yeah, definitely. Don't get jealous, get even. Too many people slag off millionaires, but don't understand the sacrifices they make there. Take massive action. Absolutely. But it's definitely something, you know, worth having a look at. Simona says, again, I can confirm I do underestimate myself massively, but I have so many repeat customers on Fiverr. Started with general help with listing to write a listing for them, and now run PPC. Fantastic, Simona. Living proof of, you know, somebody who's worked hard to accrue their knowledge and, you know, has found additional income streams for it. So yeah, I know we've talked about this for quite a long time today, but again, when you have you need
someone to tell you this it's because it's so obvious, it doesn't resonate with people, and you need somebody like this. I think this has been a really valuable session for a lot of people. I'm sure people will agree, because you need somebody to tell you, you have this knowledge, just go and monetize it.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with it. Don't let people, you know, there's always going to be weirdos around and try and put you off. And, you know, there's some real sickos on the internet, to be perfectly honest. For anyone that was watching last week, I got thrown because I had a weirdo saying some stuff in the comments on YouTube last week. Of course, I just blocked them straight away. You know, nothing personal. Well, it was like personally about me, but they're talking about kids and stuff like that. And, you know, you just sort of think, oh, get a life. And it did throw me. I was talking to Matt about it. It did throw me a little bit, but at the end of the day, just block them. They're gone. Never going to hear from that person ever again. But yeah, you do. But don't let that put you off. What I'm saying is, we're on YouTube where you expose yourself to certain things, obviously, but you don't necessarily have to. That's what I'm saying. You can fly under the radar. And you know, you might just find something you love. It's as simple as that. Give it a go. That's the only way I know now whether or not I don't want to do anything permanently, is to try it and doing it. So yeah, that's the way that I can do it, for sure. Keep thinking I should help people to get free energy bills, free mobile. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Maximize those benefits, keeps the bills down, free food, limited company. Yeah, you've got a YouTube, you've got a Facebook, Sean. Utilize it. Definitely. During this period of time, I encourage anybody to do it. And this is what I always say to people. If you've got someone telling you not to do something, they haven't got your best interest at heart as well. You know, I always say that with mentors and things like that. If you've got someone who doesn't want you to do as well as them, you know, then as well as them or even exceed them, you need to find yourself a new mentor, for sure. Anybody that you take on in this space, you know, if you take them on as a client or whatever, and you do any type of mentoring or that, you should always want them to do better than you, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Just had a last question come in.
Yeah.
And then we'll wrap up. I know probably what Matt's thoughts are going to be on this. What do you think about drop shipping? Would you recommend it? I'll let you handle that one.
No, I wouldn't. I couldn't with a whole heart recommend it. It can work, but it has to be managed very, very carefully in a very specific and direct way. And people seem to have the misconception that dropshipping is easy and it's a get-rich-quick scheme. Dropshipping is far, far harder than just selling physical products, because you have 100 in your warehouse, you can list 100 and you can deliver 100. You've got to constantly keep an eye on your suppliers, make sure they're not letting you down, keep track of the orders. So I don't want to say that dropshipping cannot work, because it can. It's not something I would recommend. I don't think you're going to make much money out of it, and I think you're going to have an awful lot of stress, and it will probably end up with an account suspension, because one of the biggest problems is Amazon says, send us an invoice. You can't send them an invoice because you bought it after you sold it. So that's my biggest fear. So it could potentially work if you like a bit of risk and you're not too worried about losing your account, maybe, and you like a lot of stress and you're a bit weird like that. But otherwise, no, stay well away.
Well, this is the thing. Dropshipping is not against Amazon terms of service. A little bit of a misconception, like multiples thinking that is against terms of service. It's actually not. They said dropshipping is absolutely fine. However, you cannot dropship from retailers. There is the difference there. You can't dropship directly from retailers. It has to come from, a legitimate source. Yeah, distributor. Yeah. Something like that whatsoever. Yeah, Phil's made a great point there. Easiest barrier to entry, sold the dream, passive, this and that. Whereas I tell you what, I knew one of the biggest drop shippers around a few years ago that was doing the Amazon to eBay or eBay to or whatever. No, it was actually Amazon, I think it was. And the amount of stress this guy had in his life. I mean, when you see someone's account health and they maybe have like a few product issues or suspected IP, 6 or 7 of this guy was like, literally it would make your toes curl, like looking at their account health and the levels of stress. And you're talking about dealing with the Amazon disbursements. I don't know, Leith, if you're talking about eBay or if you're talking about Amazon as well. You have to, this guy in particular had unlimited like Amex cards and things like that, was spending 250 grand a month on drop shipping. Well, do you know what? If Amazon suspends your account and you're not getting your disbursements, oh my God, I don't know how he slept at night. Honestly, I really didn't. My advice would be start small with arbitrage. Give that a go. Listen to someone like Matt and, go out and do a bit of retail arbitrage where it's less saturated. Think about it like from what Phil says. The easier barrier to entry, the more saturation there's going to be.
Yeah.
Pardeep says, I grew up with people around me telling me not to try stuff. Totally regret it. Was ready to start eBay over 10 years ago. Do you know what? I think that's the thing, that you have to be ready at the right time for you. Definitely. But try and that's why these communities are so valuable. And, my post the other day after speaking to Thomas, talk between each other, guys. Hopefully we can set up some sort of chat where we can speak to as many of you as possible in the future, something we want to do, even by just attending this every week at 1:00. It gives you the opportunity to ask questions live, talk between yourselves. Matt and I don't know everything, it's as simple as that. And, I always think you should never think you're the smartest person in your room, because you're not. Because I tell you what, there's some people lurking in this group that, just would blow people's minds if they knew what they did. And so always ask questions within the community, use each other. We're going to try and plan some meetups, try and take advantage as much as possible, because you have to remember the people in your circle, in your real life circle around you, you're probably the only one of you. You're probably the only one of you, because not everyone has that entrepreneurial mindset. So therefore they are going to think that you're mad, that you're crazy, that what on earth are you talking about? That sounds like a scam, or that sounds like this, because their brain doesn't work the same way as yours does. It doesn't think the same way. They haven't got the same mindset.
I think as well, you have to be prepared to cut out certain people. Now, I think certainly a lot of people probably went to college, maybe they work with certain people that are their friends. I'm not saying you can't be friends with these people, but you've got to, as an entrepreneur, you've got to not be surrounded by negative people, because there's a lot of people who are quite happy just doing, a set job, and they wanted to stay their job and they don't want to leave their town. And that's not what I think most of us in this group want. And we have to resonate off people who want the same thing as us and are prepared to make the sacrifices as us. I have had it in the past with family members. Why are you working? It's 9 o'clock. It's like, because I'm building a business. You don't get paid past 5 o'clock. That's not the kind of people you want in your lifestyle.
There's only so many Netflix series you've watched. I mean, I've got to be honest. Yeah. When Stranger Things comes on, I do like something like that. I'll drop everything and I'll binge watch that. Because anyone said, they're like, get rid of Netflix, get rid of that. It's impossible. You can't do it. You got to have some things that you enjoy.
Yeah, and it should. But the thing is, the key point is it should be planned. I'm taking time to watch a series because I want to watch the series, not I'm going to turn the TV on because it's a habit and I'm not actually even going to watch, what's on Netflix.
That's got to be Sean. Yeah. What's Netflix? What's a TV?
What's a TV?
Andy says high five to the lurkers. Steve says, and this is so true, absolutely, aren't the likes of Currys actually drop shipping those bigger appliances? Definitely. I bought a new kitchen last year and all of the appliances were drop shipped. There's no doubt about it. They don't sell it themselves, but if you've got a couple of spare million lying around to set up and go and negotiate that type of business, go for it. There's definite always opportunity, but I think it's more a case of these businesses now, they just don't have the overheads that they have, with the staff that they've got. They don't have the ability to buy the levels of stock. And I think because of those type of businesses, Currys probably in particular, they saw the way that Comet went. And so and they were like, well, we don't want to hold the stock, that type of thing. So it just stops kind of cash flow. So if you are a mega business, then absolutely, they're going to be utilizing that as much as possible. When I had my distribution company, I had a big apprentice style meeting with House of Fraser. And they were the most ridiculous company in the world, to be perfectly honest, for the level of what they wanted. And I don't think a lot of people realize this, but in House of Fraser, so God knows how they went bankrupt, because big expensive, like department stores and staff and things like that. But most of the stock that they take, unless it's something that just flies off the shelf, most of the stock they take is on consignment. They won't pay for it. It's on consignment. You sell it, they'll pay for it. And then when they do, they take you 60 days to pay for it. Well, no, not 60 days. I think it was like 90 days to pay for it. But then if they pay a day before the 90 days, they want 10% discount, even though they've been holding your stock for 6 months and doing this. So, most of these companies, the big companies, have been doing it for years. Absolutely. Even Amazon. Yes, I agree, Steve. I don't know if you're thinking what I'm thinking about in terms of Amazon being forced into potentially doing a consignment model with, Amazon being separated. I spoke about it last week a little bit because there were some news articles that came out about it where, even in the UK now, they're being investigated for going up against competition, against third-party sellers. It's massive in the US, big investigation happening there. So at some point, all Amazon sellers, third-party sellers, might have to become consignment sellers at some point. I think that's the only way that they can do it if they're forced to separate the platforms. But yeah, we'll wait and see. Be funny. We'll be talking about it in 5 years' time. We'll know exactly what's happened then. Sean says Matt Webley doesn't have a TV. Wonder how many millionaires don't watch TV. They just watch stuff online. I couldn't say, to be perfectly honest. It's I think you've got to have. There's always got to be a balance. I think, like, if you cut something out completely in everything, there's always going to be a deficit, isn't there? It's like anything. You overindulge in something too much, then you get sick of it. You don't do something enough, you want it more. I think life's just try and have a balance and try and be as happy as possible.
Yeah.
So Jeff attacking Biden the other day. Don't think that's hard, to be honest. But yeah, try not to get too political on this session. But yeah, so hopefully everyone's enjoyed the session today. Let us know any final kind of questions. But I think we're going to wrap up now anyway. But like I said, just having a chat about some of the things that you guys can do in order to recession proof your business as much as possible, because believe me, that's what big businesses are going to be doing now. They're going to be looking at all the ways that they can maximize profit, they can maximize benefits. So make sure.
Just an interesting example. Have you seen John Lewis? They're now with some of their department stores, because they own some of the buildings, they're renting out the parts of the building as flats, and they're furnishing them with John Lewis furniture. So it's like cool. As a try. Yeah, so you can live
in John Lewis.
I don't know if they're all in John Lewis or if the buildings are John Lewis owned, but I think some of they've got surplus retail space and they're converting them into apartments, and they're furnishing them with John Lewis furniture, and you kind of just rent it all as it comes, Airbnb style. So yeah, but that's a fantastic example of diversification. They looked at what they've got. We've got surplus space. What can we do with it? How can we maximize the revenue? Whether it's you've got surplus skills or you've got surplus space in your warehouse, whether you've got, I don't know, whatever you've got. You've got surplus staff. Good example, prep. If you've got staff and you want staff and you need staff for Q4, but you're kind of struggling what to do with them in July and August, then maybe start doing prep work for somebody else. Split your space down between two sellers and split the rent. There's so many ways that you can cut your costs without having any negative impact on your business.
I love that, Andy. Sounds like the movie The Terminal, Stuck Living in Joy. I wouldn't mind doing that. If there was a waitress. Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
Waitress would be ideal, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be perfect. But I've always said that. Do you know what? I love American condominium style living. And I've never understood why they don't adopt it more in this country. And we saw this sort of happening around where we live, obviously attracting a lot of Londoners by holiday homes down here and things like that. Whereas I think they should just move. I think they should just build more businesses that have things built into them. Like there's buildings that pop up in America that have like a restaurant in them. They have a gym, they have this, they have that, all of these different types of things. So, I can see why that would be totally appealing for, someone like John Lewis. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I think John Lewis, you will see the systemization closing of most of their branches. I think they'll condense down. Like we had a John Lewis in Poole, where it's just home only.
I'm surprised that's still going, to be honest, because most of the home stores have closed. It's only
it's because you got all the Bournemouth lot love it. Yeah. Bank lot. Oh wow, yeah, I'm gonna pay £30 for a scatter cushion. Yeah, I'm gonna head down John Lewis.
And we used to have a John Lewis home in Chester, and that closed down. But there's still quite a few near us actually.
Yeah, they have the right clientele. It's packed. John Lewis down here is always packed. I think that's because we had the one in Southampton, and it was always a trek to get to the one in Southampton. Everyone that lived in Poole, and Poole was like, "Yay, we've got one on our." It's annoying. They never did the beauty side of it in there, because I like all the makeup counters and things like that. But they never did the beauty side. It was just.
For anyone that's interested, I've just posted the link to the article. They're putting flats in 2 Waitrose in Bromley, and what was the other place?
Yeah, that's cool.
Ealing, and then they're building them above the store in Reading as well.
Yeah,
you can rent. You can look for John Lewis in Reading.
I think you'll end up with smaller John Lewis's, and then I think you'll end up with, I think probably just the big flagship stores that'll be. I think Southampton's a big store, so I think you'll always have those. But I think you'll probably have one in, you have your Oxford Street one, your Edinburgh one, and I think that's the way a lot. But Disney store now literally has Oxford Street, and that's it. It's the only thing they have.
Yeah, we're getting someone in Chester that closed down a few years ago.
Yeah, all of the individual Disney stores, they've all gone now, and they will only retain the Oxford Street flagship store. And I think you'll see why do you need to now? You order Disney stuff, you get it next day. That I think that's what you're predominantly going to see, and you're going to see a lot of different type of high street will survive, but it would be very different for sure.
It'll be, I can envisage it. I think I've noticed shopping centres. I think a lot of, for example, car dealers have moved into shopping centres. I can see that being a big transition. Car dealers kind of dropping the big sites and moving into shopping centres to people buy a car. Well, Tesla particularly has a lot of sites in shopping centres. You go shopping, you buy a car in a shopping centre, it gets delivered to you.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
If you have a problem, you ring them up and they pick it up and then repair it at a garage somewhere, and they don't have to have a fancy showroom and big fancy dealership.
Yeah, pick up a packet of onion rings and then 60 grand Tesla while you're at it as well. Sounds good. Right, guys, we will call it a day. So join us next week. I think we're kind of what I want to do is sort of continue this on for the next couple of weeks. Not going to talk about the same thing every week, but next week I want to talk about maximizing profits and benefits and making sure that you guys are doing everything you can, ensuring that right now in Q3 you are getting those ducks ready, you are getting them in the row to do everything you can to get yourself ready for Q4 and what will be potentially a Q1 like we might have never experienced before, but you're doing everything you can do now to put everything in place to get that. So I hope you've enjoyed the session today.
Just a quick one. Sorry, I'm just extending it. How's Prime Day for people? I know we've not really talked about that. It's Prime Day today. Did you know?
Oh, only in the US.
No, in the UK as well, isn't it?
Is it? Prime Day is normally.
Yeah, it's Prime Day. 2 days of non-stop deals, 12 and 13.
Is it?
Yeah, that was my point.
My God!
Is it Prime Day? Yeah. How are people finding it? Has anyone? I've heard very little about it this year.
I've not heard a word about it.
I
have not heard a word about it being Prime Day.
Yeah, today is Prime Day.
They are advertising on the TV. I knew it was in the US. But they don't always do the same dates within the US and the UK. So I assumed, because I'd not heard anything about it, that the UK, didn't even know.
No. Today is indeed Prime Day. I think my sales are up a little bit. I wouldn't say they are anywhere noticeable or.
It's all that TV I'm not watching.
I feel like a lot of Prime Day now has just become the Amazon Echo show, i.e., they're just reducing the Amazon Kindle, Amazon Echo, and Amazon Echo Dot or whatever, and there's not very much else goes on. Reduce the Amazon products.
I've gone on to have a look. Steve's put there's always like a best deal, isn't there? What's the best kind of deal? And it's funny because I've literally been buying Christmas presents this week as well. So I'm going to have a look at that. Oh, look, the Dot, $16.99. Remember when we got those for £1? Can't get cheaper than that. Fire sticks, $12.99. Is that a fire stick?
It might be worth it though, guys, for Amazon to eBay flips. This is a very good opportunity for if you are struggling for sourcing. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend the Amazon product particularly, but certainly other deals, any kind of low supply deals. There's probably potential opportunity buying some of these deals on Amazon and then flipping them onto eBay.
Oh, I'm obsessed with looking at like Prime deals now. What do I need? What do I need? Right. Okay. Well, we've gone over a little. Not that we ever have a time limit. We've gone over, but I hope you've enjoyed today's session. Please leave us a comment in the, because obviously if you're watching on YouTube and you've left a comment, if you afterwards could drop us a comment on the actual video, we'd really appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, because whenever we go live or release videos, you will always get notified of those first, and give us a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it as well. Like I said, getting better at asking to do that now. So hopefully you enjoyed the sessions, talking about something a little bit different, but something hopefully some of you, 6 months time, you might turn around and say, well, do you know what I started doing this and it's worked out all right. I hope that's the case. And of course, we'll always
see you all on Fiverr.
See you on Fiverr, see you on, some, like I said, you don't even need to sell anything in a lot of cases. It can be done for you for sure. So have a great week, guys. Keep posting in the group. Like I said, we've become a busy little hub now, so we really appreciate that. We really appreciate your support, and enjoy Prime Day.
get some deals, and enjoy the sales uptake.
See you next week, guys. Take care.
See you later. Bye.